The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients.
It's the 15th day. It's Friday, 15th day of December, 2023. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, and Lenders. I'm Jamel Hartman, Rajay Danbrook, and, thanks again to People's Pharmacy because Rajay is going to bring you the news break as Maya takes a day off. But, Raj, we have some big news. We have some big, major news. We have some major news right now, Rajay.
Okay.
And, I just want to make sure we're doing it. We literally found this out 2 minutes prior to going live this morning, folks. So we are at this moment, we are currently live for the very first time on Instagram this morning. The Daily Hour is live on Instagram this morning. This is the show 5 minutes prior to going live. We set it up where you can now watch live. And let me tell you, I'm going to show all the love to the youngest person on the team, Maya, who had me attending these meetings every Sunday night, asking the question. And this morning, I woke up the whole TDH team. We are live on Instagram after 3.5 years. This is the best Christmas present. This one's for Maya. This one's for everyone on Instagram who has asked us, can you get on Instagram? Can you get on Instagram? Can you get on Instagram? Folks, you can see I'm excited. Not for me, but for every last person who wanted access. We appreciate the support. And Maya, this is your gift. This is for you. This is you. Sandra, I saw you over there looking. I'm happy. I'm excited, Raj. I'm excited.
No, that's incredible. The reach, like, and like you said, the access.
Yeah. I'm looking now. I see the
comments. Where's the Erwan? If this is not an Erwan moment.
So unfortunately, the comments from Instagram cannot come up on the screen yet, but we have some comments on Instagram. Sandra, I'm watching from Insta. Maya, yes. Oh my God, we've got quite a few, Raj. We've got. Amazing. We've got The Future Is Now from Zenya Herc. We've got Kathy Rogers over there, Vita Fusions, a lot of you. But again, not sure how the integration is going to work, but spread the news. The Daily Hour is now live on Instagram. And you know what? This has been a long time coming. Bear with us as we figure out how to bring the comments on screen. And good morning to you, Karen Simmons. Happy Friday to you, Traveling Trotty, and awesome Friday to you, Suzanne Ingham. Kenton Truck, we appreciate you, brother. Says excellent news, excited for the team. Zane, CT, the future is now. Mama Dembrook, yeah, this is exciting. And folks, again, we're not able to share comments at this moment on the screen for Instagram, but we'll work on that. As you can see, I'm a little thrown off. I was supposed to be showing off my ugly sweater for you today and got my little Kango. And then 5 minutes prior to the show, we figured it out. I'll break it down to you. I got a stream key. I sent it to the TDH group. I set it up. We have Amber, who is our social media person. I literally sent her. She was sending me some stuff before the show. She didn't even know. I told her, sent her voice. I'm excited. I am excited, man, because this show, I wrote a Facebook post this morning and on tweet, and I said, it was to Glenn Blakeney, and I said, that Glenn Blakeney is arguably the most influential media executive that Bermuda has had since the turn of the century. And he needs his flowers, right? And whether you like his politics or not like him as an individual, many of the things we benefit from now started from him. Rajay, where did you first start in this industry?
Hey, it was, listen, I did Teen Idol,
Mm-hmm.
made an ass of myself on that stage gloriously, so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 days after Teen Idol, Glenn
Mhm.
reached out to me and said, would you like to intern? And I was with Inter-Island Communications for 6 years. And I
Mhm.
can say, Jamel, IIC is the foundation of
Mhm.
my professional perspective, my work ethic, everything. And this is what people have to understand, right? Teo was programming, he was the art,
Mhm.
you were sales,
Yeah.
right? IIC was successful because of two young Black men, and Glenn put you in that position, put me in that position,
We
and
were
I learned so much from you and Teo. Like, you guys can take so much credit for the professional I am today. You might have think I wasn't looking, but I was looking.
No, we knew you're looking, but again, we were boys. And I say that respectfully. Teo and I were 24, 25, respectively. You were like 15, 14.
Yeah.
And credit to these Black men, Glenn and Elroy and Scott, for giving us a chance. And because of that, we have this, folks. Maya Palacio does the news still for Inter-Island Communications. Teo was doing the news recently up until now. And I just think it's only fair and respectful to give thanks and show love to those who paved the way for you. This past summer, we were arguing and mad and angry about Cop Match not being live all day. People forget Glenn Blakeney was the one who bought you Cop Match live all day. And when he did that, you were crying about having to pay for it. So I just wanted to take this time, the excitement that we're feeling with being on Instagram now, and props to you all who's tuned in on Instagram. We appreciate you. But Glenn Blakeney is Bermuda Media. Now, we have a topic and we have a conversation we're having this morning. So greetings, everyone. Thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome economist and educator Craig Simmons to the show. Very good conversation. So you don't want to miss that. You do not want to miss that. The daily play is more holiday trivia. And please don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right, let's just jump right into the conversation. Raj, what's the question for this morning?
The question for this morning, Jamel, is an extremely important one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to have this conversation. The question for this morning is, what can we do to improve the lives of children in Bermuda?
Okay. Improve the lives of children
In Bermuda.
Oh, Roger, let me just put this out there. What can we do to improve the lives of children in Bermuda? What can we do to improve the lives to improve the lives of children in Bermuda? Let me tell you why I think this is so important. I saw the Royal Gazette front page this morning, and on the side they had two young people missing. Roger, they had two young people missing this morning. I'm not quite sure any of us, it looks like we've got some more technology announcements today as well. Any of us have shown enough care as a collective. So your question of the morning, we have two missing young Bermudians right now. And we're going to go some places that may make people uncomfortable this morning. We may offend some people this morning. DCF, what's up?
DCFS, yep. We'll go in there.
Let's take a quick break, Raj. Let them marinate it. But the question's going to be, what can we do to improve the lives of children in Bermuda? Let's take a quick break. Go check our friends at Mailboxes out. And when we come back, another announcement that I just saw. Technology announcement. This is getting good. We're heading into 2024 bigger and better. Trust me.
In over 30 years, Mailboxes has brought in millions of packages. That's a lot of packages. We started way back in 1990.
Ship a boombox. Well, okay, sure, we can do that. Check you later.
And ever since, we've
Welcome back to the big show. Roger Danbrook, Jamel Hartman. Thanks again to the BAC Group of Companies, Lindo's, People's Pharmacy, and Medical House. Let's jump right into it. What can we do to improve the lives of children in Bermuda? And I want to make another big announcement. As you can see, King in the North, Chocolate Games, has joined on Twitter. Folks, Instagram, Twitter, we are here. We are here. You can now be a part of the conversation on various social media outlets. And I know what Maya's going to have me doing next. All right, Jamel, we've got Instagram, we've got Twitter. Now get to TikTok. We appreciate you. But this is a very important conversation. We've got some responses coming through on Instagram. Again, we haven't worked out how to put these comments up as of yet. So we will read from Instagram as we go through the show. But Rajay, let's get to it. Why is this a topic of conversation? Why should this matter?
Jamel, you hit the nail on the head when you started talking, right? Do we care about children in Bermuda? That's the real question this morning. And I am here to say emphatically, no, we don't. Collectively, we do not care about children in Bermuda. Caring about children in Bermuda is important. Understanding that, because it's connected to everything. How do we care about families? How do we care about education? How do we care about the future of this country? How do we care about our past, right? So caring about children is an existential matter. It's a spiritual matter. And caring about children in childhood. So how do we hold space for childhood in this country? And how does that manifest in all of the ways that it does? We see 2 young people who have been missing, one of which is the second time she's gone missing. The first young man's been missing for almost a month. This should be disturbing to people, and it's not. And it's not because we don't care about children. As a people, as a culture, we do not. When you have child-centric societies, Jamel, everything is, but the Scandinavian, why do you think Finland has one of the best education systems in the world? It's because fundamentally they are a child-centric society. They value family, they value birth, they make sure that children and childhood are respected and that they can thrive. We don't do that in Bermuda. We treat children as an afterthought. We do not respect the emotional and intellectual lives of children. We do not respect childhood. How many times have you heard somebody say they may show a child something inappropriate? They may be watching a movie and there's something inappropriate comes on. And you go, oh no, can you please turn that off for the child? What that person's going to say? They need to grow up at some point. Other places in the world, Jamel, child sees something inappropriate. You know what that's called? Sexual abuse. And we're not there. There are pockets in this country like the Family Center, and I'm going to come back to that incredible organization that is the model for how it is their culture should be the culture of Bermuda.
Well, Raj, and this Donna Otterbridge makes a great point, right? It collectively is the key word. It shouldn't just take one person or one department. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, Donna, and I agree with her wholeheartedly. I think there needs to be communication between the Department of Child and Family Services and the public, because when a child goes missing, and we don't know if a child is part of DCFS or not. We don't know that most times, right? But it's the police. Right now, Bermudians lose interest fast, right? Let's be honest. They lose interest. So, we say it on this show all the time. If it's one thing we're not going to do, is allow people to forget things of importance. What are those things? We had a murder about 3 weeks ago. And I said during that show, what concerns me most is after the, Bermudian adopted Republican habits of thoughts and prayers, and I'm sick of this and all that stuff, we move on. Well, before we've even buried that person, there's another murder. 2 days later, do we care enough? Right? And so I feel like with children, props to the Royal Gazette for having it up there on the front page every day, right? But are we having the conversations like we were when it first started, or are we tired? Or like yesterday, as we were talking about why we should be concerned about things that are happening, around the globe, right? Remember that. And we said, Rajay, well, people, in fairness, and I said this to you, have their own things going on in Bermuda, right? People have their own things going on in Bermuda. They have things that, I can't afford to care or worry about what's going on around the world. Folks, we all need to pay close attention because, to quote Donna Otterbridge again, collectively, this is a community problem. I say all the time on this show, the two people that we must protect, that I am very emotional about and who are dear to me, are the elderly and children. They need us. Audience, what can we do to improve the lives of children in Bermuda? What are your thoughts? What's your answer to this?
And we have a lot of comments, but I want to make a few points before we get to the comments, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in Bermuda, think about this. We think it's our right to act on children.
Mm-hmm.
We think it's okay to treat children however we want. We think it's okay to hit off of children. We think it's okay. Like, we have fallen into this very Western mindset about children, right? Because remember, during the Victorian era, child labor was very normal, and that industrialized culture is still here today. Just like I was talking about racial ideology, we haven't worked our way out of it. We haven't worked our way out of the industrialization of this world. It's still in education, and it's still in how we treat children. We treat children however we want.
Mm.
We have normalized the emotional and physical abuse and malnourishment of our children. So when I'll talk about my kids for a second, right? Some people say, Rajay, I've never seen somebody so close to their children. In other places in the world, Jamel, it's the baseline standard, because attachment parenting, that emotional connect, that relationship with your child is everything. I respect the mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical life of my children.
Mm.
My responsibility as a parent is to create space for them to master themselves and expand. It is not for me to dictate who they are.
Mm.
It is for me to create circumstances where they learn, right?
Mm.
Constructivist, right? And so they internalize values around respect, ethics, community, but who they are is who they are, right? So let's get to the comments, but then I want to come back and talk about DCFS for a second.
All right, take us to the comments, Raj. What have we got?
So Ebony Souza says, and this is absolutely wonderful, Youth Leadership Academy is an awesome start. Make it accessible to all middle high school age children, offered through the Family Center.
Mm.
It's true. The Youth Leadership Academy is an incredible program.
I've never heard of it.
You've never heard of it?
No.
Oh, good. Jim, so what they do is that they take vulnerable young people
Mm-hmm.
and they put them in a leadership academy.
Okay.
And they learn leadership skills and they connect with the community. So it's a different way for them to connect with their power.
Okay.
It's a community. It's not a clinical program.
Mm-hmm.
It's a community program. But I could talk about it for ages.
Let's go to Instagram Live real quickly, Raj. So the question again, folks, is what can we do to improve the lives of children in Bermuda? And I just want to, we have a comment. Someone, Real Conscious Jay, says, make the economy affordable, and fathers need to stand up and firm and be a positive force in their children's lives. Any thoughts?
Yes. Yeah, of course. And that statement, it's so we could do a whole show on just that statement.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about the how our commitment to children and families and this country is reflected in policy,
Mm-hmm.
how it's reflected systemically. And that's actually what I'm going to talk about with DCFS, right?
Mm-hmm.
And fathers and Black men, we haven't been able to connect with our entire humanity for hundreds of years, Jamel.
Mm.
In order to be able to love, you need to be able to laugh, cry, be excited, be mad, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have shoved Black men into this. You can feel this and be this.
Mm-hmm.
You can't love from that place. You can't be a father from that place.
Mm-hmm.
So again, collectively, Black men in this country need to come together and go, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
We all have to do better.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not perfect,
Mm-hmm.
but it has to be an intentional, collective commitment.
We've got a guest today, and we've got to keep it tight. And this conversation legit could be a 2-hour convo. But I just want to add this. I want to use my own experience real quickly before we get back to the audience. Like I just said, I care deeply about the elderly and children in particular. I've never worked with the elderly, but I know people who do. And I was just asked a question this week about basically, do I have the strength, like the emotionally, can I handle working with the elderly? And the closest I've done was when I was working at CITV. We visited one of the rest homes. I do find it easier to work with children. I've coached and I've mentored in different organizations. And as I coach and mentor, my hope is that something that I didn't have or that I lacked, because no matter your environment you're brought up in, sorry, there's always going to be something that you don't have. Maybe you may be great at one thing and lack social skills in something, right? My hope, my honest hope is that I'm filling that need for that person to go and contribute to society one day based on what they're learning. It's imperative that as adults we do that. No child, whether they're in the care of the government or their family or just guardians, right? No child should even think to want to run away from a space of living. No one. Let's go through the comments real quickly. Raj, go through as many as possible because we got to move on.
Says Zane Zita says, have a third space for children and teens. And actually, we have those third spaces. The community centers, you have the Hamilton Community Center, St. George's Community Center, and Somerset Community Center. Youth and sport, we need to give them a bit more props for what they do. All elementary schools should provide breakfast for the children, as there are many that don't have a good start to their day. Parents are stressed with increased cost of living. And again, that's a systemic policy commitment to children, right? Griselda Severin, one of my absolute, I sing because of this lady, actually. Every major policy in every ministry should have an impact statement on how it will impact future generations. Integrated child-focused sustainability across the board. Listen, I'm going to say this, Griselda, you may hate me. Griselda Severin should be in charge of education or child policy in this country. Like, I'm not exaggerating.
That's a big statement.
She can take so much credit for the young man I am today as a musician, as a thinker, listen, Griselda, Bermuda needs to put you in charge of some things.
Yeah, indeed.
Maya says, start believing them. Hold space for them to be themselves and be an open arm for protection, not their first bully. Again, that idea that we think it's okay to act on children and treat them however we want. Bermuda's culture is to think short term. Our government is thinking about the next election, unfortunately, when the government should be thinking about its people. As a people, everything we do should be done with a generational mindset.
Yeah, let me go to the Instagram real quickly, Rajay. We've got long tail learning has said history definitely matters when we have systemic issues like child abuse or racism, but I feel like we repress the significance of it and allow for those circumstances to be reproduced.
Yes, cognitive dissonance, of course, because nobody wants to think, why do you think white slavery lasted for as long as it did? Nobody wants to think that they're evil. Nobody wants to think that they're a part of the problem.
Yeah. Again, I think it's best, one day we've had people from Department of Child and Family Services on here before to really come and speak to, with the public. The police have been out there with, appeals to the public regarding the two missing individuals right now, the children. And again, credit to the Royal Gazette for keeping it in the front of minds for the general public. But I said, as long as this show exists, people will be able to come here and we'll be able to have these conversations and we'll be able to improve our community. But we need to figure out why do we lose interest so fast, Rajay? Why do we seem to not care so fast? I want to tell you now, I was talking to a German gentleman at a Christmas holiday party I was at last night, and he said, humans tend not to care long until it impacts them directly. And I'm guilty of it. We're guilty of it, right? Although I always had an issue with conscription, I didn't fight for it the way I fought for it until I was conscripted, right? But I fight for people. I have a problem, and I said this the other day, that 2024, we're going after alcoholism in Bermuda. We are. Again, smoke, get high, drink, do what you do. But I'm sick and tired of people driving and putting others in harm's way. I'm sick and tired of irresponsible behavior. So we have to fight for things even if they don't impact us directly. You know why? Because if we don't get a hold of things now, when it hits us, you're going to be thinking it's too late. We're going to take You're doing a news break today, right, Raj?
I am doing the news break, but I want to make my points really quick if I can.
Let's be fast because we're against time.
No worries. So here, everyone remember a few years ago, a young woman, the Department of Child and Family Services sent a young woman to a treatment center in Utah. And this is something that, so parents sue a Utah treatment center for after their daughter from Bermuda died by suicide. So the Department of Child and Family Services, they have something called residential treatment services, right? Residential treatment services is where children go once they're put into the care of the Director of Child and Family Services, once their living conditions are deemed not safe. So once their parental situation is deemed insufficient. So Miss Krista Simmons was sent away to a place where no one looked like her, no one talked the way that she did. She was flown 2,600 miles to a youth treatment facility in Utah where she died by suicide nearly 2 years ago. Now, this treatment center in Utah was notorious. Apparently, there were tons of complaints. Everybody knew about it. Yet this child was sent there. It exacerbated her conditions. It exacerbated things. And this young lady killed herself. Now, this child was in the care of Child and Family Services at the time. I want to show everybody else something very, very quickly, right? This is the Children's Act. And you can't see it very well, and I apologize for that. But if we go to, and this is actually not very helpful to me, Barry, because I can't see it. So I'm going to try this a different way. I apologize, everyone. Give me a moment.
We have to move on. So just make the points as quick as possible. We can always come back to this conversation, but we have to move on today.
No worries. So the basic point is this: legally, when a child is removed from the care of their parents and put into the care of Child and Family Services, the Director of Child and Family Services is their legal guardian. They are legally responsible for the welfare of this child, and the only reason why it happens is supposed to be to safeguard these children and improve their lives and help them. If children are running away, right, from residential treatment facilities in this country, and I worked at one, so I know what I'm talking about. If children are running away, that means they are not receiving the care they're supposed to be receiving. And as a people, and if we lived in a child-centric society, that place would have been there would have been a full review of their services and restructuring would have been taking place. The last thing I'm going to say is this: the Family Center basically does the work of what Child and Family Services is meant to be doing, but in a more restricted way, right? Because they don't have the capacity. They do the work at an international standard. They are a child-centric, family-centric organization. If they can do it, DCFS needs to get their butts over there. Government needs to get serious about our children, our systemic government commitment to children, because right now, it's not given.
Well, Kimberly Jackson's telling you that's not accurate. Kimberly Jackson, feel free to share the accuracy. I just want to say something. Paulie Rich says this topic goes back to another show in which you touched on maternity/paternity leave. I feel strongly that the type of leave should be at least a year for both parents. That bonding is so important. I cringe when babies have to go to a sitter at 3 months. We have to move on, folks. We can continue the conversation another day. We have a guest, and this show has to end on time today. All right. So, Raj, let's get to the news break. And Kimberly Jackson, feel free to share what you say is not accurate.
Give clarity right now, Jackson. I'd appreciate it.
Just hold on, Raj. If you have anything that you can prove is not accurate that's being said, don't just say it's not accurate. Share the opposing view or conversation or the evidence. This is why we're here, to have conversations to improve our community. Over to you, Raj.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Daily Hour News Break, brought to you by the great folks at People's Pharmacy. This morning, after you get done hanging out with us here at the Daily Hour, you should zip over to parliament.bm, hit the live stream, and just leave it on. Because today's order paper contains something that will fundamentally change Bermuda's financial services value proposition. MPs are debating the corporate income tax rate this morning, a week after Premier Burt tabled the act in the first place.
The bill states that the corporate income tax will be a covered tax under the OECD's global minimum tax eligibility rules, namely one that is recognized within the OECD tax framework. This approach aims to minimize top-up taxes levied on Bermuda multinational enterprises in other jurisdictions where they operate.
We've been over this a couple times already, but this is a big deal, and we all need to get this. The OECD want to end tax evasion by disincentivizing the reason it happens in the first place, through the imposition of a 15% tax rate on all multinational companies that earn $823 million per year. This will mean it won't make as much sense for supergroups like Microsoft to domicile their businesses in places like Ireland or Gibraltar or Bermuda. This only works if every country participates. And as of today, the vast majority of the developed world has committed to do so, except for the two countries with arguably the most to lose to this new regime and enough weight to throw around and scatter the game.
How can a global tax reform move forward without the world's two biggest economies? The OECD pins hopes on the domino effect incorporated in the global minimum tax implementation mechanism. If they're proven right, only a critical mass of countries will be needed to set the reform in motion. But if they're wrong, the eroding consensus of the past couple of years will bring the whole reform back to the reality of geopolitics.
You know, it's interesting that's in the news today, and we have Craig Simmons coming up because I'm sure someone was going to ask him about the global tax reform as it relates to Bermuda's economy. But very interesting that video just now as it relates to the world's two largest economies and global tax. Keep that in mind to ask him about that a bit later.
On to our next story. As we're sure you've noticed, the island generally and our capital city in particular has seen a gradual increase in unhoused people. The good news is that, according to Minister of Social Development and Seniors Tanae Furbert, Bermuda has begun to walk down the path to end homelessness. Minister Furbert announced the public consultation on the draft plan, Path to End Homelessness in Bermuda, at a press event yesterday afternoon, recognizing the cross-sector collaboration the plan is built around.
This plan comprises essential recommended actions that reflect the collaborative work of key organizations such as HOME, STAR, Lighthouse, Teen Haven, Transformational Living Center, the Salvation Army, Dignity House, Solstice, and the Bermuda Housing Corporation.
HOME Executive Director and leading social justice activist Denise Carey was also present at the event, underlining the depth of the problem and the breadth of the working group's outreach.
We are here to support individuals who look like us, who are hidden homeless, couch surfing, who are struggling to find affordable housing, individuals who are living in cars, who are living in horse stables, who are living in derelict buildings with no electricity and no running water, persons who are living in overcrowding situations, or individuals who have returned to Bermuda with no place to call home, or persons who have lived their adult life in Bermuda but have another place but still cannot go home.
Appreciate the work.
And you know, Jamel, I think people really have to understand it's very easy to become homeless in this country. And a few years ago, I was nearly homeless. I lost my job out of nowhere. If I didn't have an understanding landlord, I would have been either in emergency housing or on the streets with my kids.
That's unfortunate. What's the weather looking like today, Raj? Sorry, we have to move on.
That's okay. Actually, no, we had one more story. So I apologize, everybody. So now to completely shift gears and tell you something incredibly cool about how we are all up in an iconic part of one of the world's biggest athletic brands. Have you ever heard of the Adidas Bermuda? It's a particular type of Adidas sneaker. We know you've seen them before.
Really?
Yeah, apparently. So low cut, suede, all the way fresh. And you remember these, right? These would have been good money in Generation X all the way up through Z. The Adidas Bermuda dates back to the late 70s as part of sneaker series intended to celebrate island countries, specifically Hawaii, Tahiti, and Bermuda for some reason. Or perhaps this is one of those old school Ministry of Tourism successes we always hear about. Anyway, the Adidas Bermuda Collegiate Purple Burgundy is dropping early next year, and it's apparently a big deal all over the hypebeast blogosphere. Anyway, here's the point. Next time that you hear somebody running Bermuda down comparatively, like Cayman does something better than we do, or London's about to eat our lunch, you can legitimately ask them, but did they inspire a classic sneaker though? There's no comeback for that.
All righty. What's the weather looking like?
I'm going to be very honest with you, sir. This is the first time I've done the news and I didn't get the weather. So.
All right, folks, look outside your window. Let us know what you're seeing. I'll do days of the year real quickly. Folks, today Guess what it is? It's ugly sweater day today. And I have mine on. See? Well, it's not a sweater. It's kind of like a shirt, but it's, yeah, you get the point. So ugly sweater day. Hopefully, I mean, some people don't have to go too far in their closet, but you know what it is. Happy ugly sweater day to you all. Folks, we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back with our guest for the day. We've got Craig Simmons. We're talking about the economy. He's about to retire, and always great commentary with Mr. Simmons. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
When it comes to footwear, we carry functional, comfortable, orthopedic and waterproof shoes. We have construction shoes, golf shoes, shoes for walking, shoes for boating. We even have shoes for pickleball. We have shoes for everyone. With brands by Skechers, Atrax, Propay, Easy Street, Nursemates, Clogs, Avenger, Cherokee, Cat, Frog Talk and DeWalt. The list goes on.
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level.
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. Roger Denbrook, I'm Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. Please do not forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Earlier, we were discussing DCFS, and Raj, Kimberly Jackson did respond. Just in fairness, she said DCFS is accredited and offers same standard as any other social service agency on the island. She goes on to say runners in most residential treatment programs tend to run because of highly structured programming versus lack of treatment, especially when you are a secured unit and not a locked facility. You want to make a quick 10-second response to that?
Yeah, definitely. And that's my point right there. Accreditation, that accreditation piece, I'm sorry. That's my point. The residential treatment model needs to be looked at, right? It's about relationship. It's about healing. It's about improving these. It's not about putting children who are traumatized and putting them in a facility and locking them down. That's my point.
Yeah, I think what's being lost in this is the problem is the word structure. Is that structure adequate for who?
Somebody who has worked with Jamel, I have been thrown into walls. I have had chairs chucked at me. I have done so many things with at-risk youth, but you know what works? Relationship.
Indeed. So we've got to humanize it. Without further ado, let's bring in our guest for the day. We've got Craig Simmons returning. Always a good conversation. Folks, if you care about Bermuda's economy, if you want to learn about Bermuda's economy, if you're concerned about Bermuda's economy, this is a conversation for you. Let's give him a warm TDH welcome. We love seeing the mug, folks. You too can get a mug as well. Just reach out to us. We'll get you a Daily Hour mug. Sir, it's been so long. How are you?
It has. I can say I've never been better.
We're happy to hear that. And you can never been better because, well, you're heading towards retirement soon, huh?
Yeah. I mean, the actual reason, the sort of premature reason, maybe it's a bit of a sob story, but for the last 9 years, I was caring for my mother, and she left me on Monday, August the 21st, at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I had the privilege of closing her eyes,
Mhm.
kissing her on the cheek, and telling her that I loved her. That is an awesome, awesome experience, I think, for anyone to
Indeed.
enjoy. And so, for me, life is a dream.
Indeed. And again, as I said back then, on behalf of everyone part of this show, sincerest condolences, and we thank your mother for creating the person that you have become, not just as a family person, but for the community. Because as Mark Arthur C. Phillips says here, I was just wondering when Bro Craig would make a return to TDH. And it's interesting because we get, oh, can you ask Mr. Simmons this? Can you ask Mr. Simmons that? Because people are just don't know how to search for the information, and would love someone to communicate the information. And we've got Charles H. Jeffers just sending his condolences and wishing you peace and comfort. So let's just jump into it. So you are leaving the classroom. What has been the most rewarding thing about educating people over the years?
Over the years, well, maybe I could just talk about this last semester. It's maybe it's because I don't have a very good memory, but the last 14 weeks working with young people has been like a dream. Going to class, I almost feel like Trevor Noah, turning up for class, doing the entertainment piece. And I suppose the greatest compliment that I've gotten this semester is that when the hour is up, or when the 50 minutes is up, students are like, "What, we're done? It's been an hour already?" That tells me that I'm sort of justifying my existence, and perhaps justifying that sweet paycheck that the taxpayer delivers to my bank account every month. And for that, I am very grateful.
Indeed, indeed.
But teaching has been sweet. I've been hearing the comments about young people, and I live in an entirely different world. I mean, an image just flashed through my mind. It's one of a young man in my class. He's a dual enrollment student. He's not even 16. I think he goes 16 sometime this month. Super, super, super smart. And he's just one of many young Bermudians who are doing amazing things. And you will be hearing about these folks. One of the things I've been doing over the last, say, 14 weeks has been reaching out to former students, and the positive feedback, the hundreds of people. I feel really optimistic about Bermuda's future, probably because I've had the honor and the pleasure of working with some of our smartest individuals. And it's been a joy. It's been a blast. So I have a rather biased view of Bermuda because I've had the honor and the pleasure of working with young people for the last 30 years.
If men like you were the norm, Mr. Simmons, this island would be an exceptional place. Your sensitivity, your commitment, your expertise, your sense of love, sir. As a young man with 2 children and with 2 daughters, somebody once said to me that you need to go talk to Craig and sit down with him. Because they told me you have 2 daughters as well.
3.
They said, Rajay, you need to go sit down you need to meet him. And I saw you for the first time at Serafina in the front row, if you remember, the evening where I couldn't sing on the Saturday evening where I was all crying because I was sad because I couldn't be on stage.
Remember it well.
Sitting next to you and your wife, I was just like, oh my God, I understand why this person said this to me. So thank you for your service, sir. It's sad to see you going, but just know that you have left a legacy and an example. I just wanted to give that preamble before I ask my question. So my question is, what will you miss most about being in the classroom?
Interacting with young people, nurturing them, giving them the space to grow. And maybe the biggest thing is learning from them. You can't be a teacher, a good teacher, if you're not at the same time a better learner. And so, I think about what I learned in university and this piece of paper that I got from university. But most of what is between my ears now, I've learned since graduating. I've learned at Bermuda College, working with my colleagues in sociology, psychology, history, biology, going to work and having the privilege of tapping into the minds of really smart people, and then going to class and learning from students. It's a reciprocal, it's a two-way street. You can't be a halfway decent teacher unless you're a better student. And just the correction, the sun is rising on me. I'm really, really looking forward to the next 10, 15 years. I've realized that my clock is running out. But I don't see this thing called retirement. I'm looking forward to sort of making an even greater contribution to Bermuda, or different kind of contribution to Bermuda. Teaching, is one way to do it, but there are other ways of making a contribution to the island that I love.
Indeed.
I think that actually goes right into my next question, sir. How do you hope you've contributed to Bermuda through your work over the years?
Well, at heart, I'm a teacher. And so, I receive a monthly check from the taxpayer, and I feel obliged to give back to the taxpayer. And this is one of the ways I think in which I can do that. Give people, for lack of a better word, the facts, and allow them to make up their own minds. I don't see myself as being someone that tells people what to do or how to do it. It's more about giving them the basic information, and then they have the freedom to make up their own mind. And it's not about me trying to sort of convince somebody of my particular perspective. Being a teacher, I think in many ways I've lost the ability to have a perspective. It's more about giving people the power, giving people the freedom to make up their own minds.
Indeed.
Yes, sir. So, regarding Bermuda's economy, because we're in some very interesting waters right now. So, what are your hopes for our economy in the short term and the long term?
Well, I think it's important for us to finally start thinking long term. I mean, too many of the decisions that we make are short term. They're to get reelected or to win the praise of some individual, and not thinking in terms of 10, 20, 30, or even 50 years. And so if I can sort of convince people to think long term, whether it be with respect to family issues, with respect to the environment, I think I would have done a halfway decent job. But so that's what's on my mind right now, thinking long term in terms of investing in people, saving our environment, and being aware of how our actions can impact others, how we need to take individual responsibility for our own actions. So, for example, I'm sitting here drinking coffee from Kenya. Well, if I'm an environmentalist, I have to accept, well, why am I drinking coffee from Kenya when there's elderberry growing just down the street, and I could have gone down and picked some of those flowers and made myself some tea this morning. The carbon footprint that's associated with getting coffee from Kenya to Bermuda, Craig Simmons, you need to sort of straighten up your act. Or if I'm deciding that I'm going to sort of fly to Singapore to enjoy the sights and sounds of Singapore, well, I've got to think about the carbon footprint associated with me jumping on a jet and getting there. I have a lot of respect for Greta Thunberg. She's the young lady who has basically told my generation that you've screwed up. You've left us with a bag of coal, not a bag of gold, but a bag of coal, because of the lifestyle that we've decided to sort of enjoy short term, not really thinking long term. So these are the things that, bother me. And I suppose in many ways are forcing me to adjust my sales, my lifestyle. So, I love to travel by bus because it gives me the opportunity to connect with Bermudians, with working class Bermudians, and to experience this wonderful thing I call it bus culture. I watch people get on the bus and they say, "Good morning, everybody." And, oftentimes there are tourists on the bus. And these tourists, you could just see them, their brains are turning. What the devil is going on here? And of course, they decide, well, let me test the waters. So the next day you see them, they get on the bus and they try it. They say, "Good morning, everybody." And to their delight, the bus says, "And good morning to you." And you could just see their eyes sort of lighting up. It's just a beautiful way that Bermudians have connecting with one another, with tourists. I mean, another story, this tourist got on the bus and she left her medication in the bus stop. And so, she said to the bus driver, "Can you let me off? I got to go get my medication." The driver let the woman off, drove maybe 100 meters, and he turned the bus around in the middle of the street, went back, picked up these people, went back to the bus stop, picked up the medication, turned the bus around again, and on our way we went. And the sense of camaraderie, humanity, on this bus. That I was going to work. There were people, working class Bermudians, making their way to their place of employment, but no, we're going back.
Yeah,
there was sort of a feeling, this sort of harmony that I'm guessing it exists in other parts of Bermuda, but bus culture, ooh man, working class people pulling together, this idea that justice is what love looks like in public. And so I see love on a bus, and I look down on the people driving in their cars and racing and overtaking and leaving their carbon footprint and think, yeah, you guys don't get it.
Yeah. And it's interesting because so much is said about the economy and we think finance and money, but just now you took us on a ride and you started talking about like the climate, how that impacts us. And you did something that we often do on this show between Roger and myself. You held yourself accountable through that whole story just now. So it's not like Craig Simmons is here telling you I'm perfect and you need to do this. You're saying, look, I have coffee from Kenya. And then when I consider it, I have elderberries done it. I really, the reason I'm repeating that, Roger, Mr. Simmons, is because I want people to take on, to really understand that it actually starts within us. It starts within each and every one of us. And we have to hold ourselves accountable first for the things that we're doing. So we have a few questions from the audience. And audience, if you have any questions or comments for Mr. Simmons, it's tied into what I was going to ask. I had this question: what can we do to educate more people on how the economy works? And we had a young person, Onion Soup says, if you could recommend a book to read that helps shape you, what you are, who you are, and learn, what book would you suggest to others? So putting those both together is how can we become better without waiting on Mr. Simmons to come back on the Daily Hour and the like?
Wow, that's a tough one because every day it's a process. Learning, like with my students, they just had exams and some waited until the final week to study and they didn't do so well. Those who started on day one, chipping away and chipping away and chipping away, when it came to exam time, they did well. I mean, they didn't have the same kind of pressure. And so when it comes to the economy, when it comes to caring for children or caring for your parents, it's a daily slog. There is no magic book or bullet. For me, it's about observing what's going on in society. Simple things. In terms of books, I mean, I suppose a textbook on economics, or nowadays you have the benefit of YouTube, where you can go on and get 3-minute or 5-minute sort of lessons on the economy or basic economic concepts. It's a slow, arduous process. It's we live in this society where we think things are automatic. If you want to cook dinner, or if you want to eat dinner, it means prepping. You've got to take the fish out in the morning if you want to cook it in the evening. You've got to season it up at some point in time. You have to be sort of thinking ahead. And the same thing comes with the environment. You've got to think ahead. Many years ago, there's a beach near me called Glass Beach, where Bermudians used to throw their waste. It was a dump. These people obviously didn't think about the future. You've got this beautiful beach, and you're throwing your refuge there. It's like, really? How short term can we possibly be about life? And whenever we do something, we should be thinking, what are the implications of my actions? And so, coming back to this question about the economy, you just have to every day dedicate time to it. It's like, if you want to get fit, or if you want to lose weight, you can't do it in a month. You can't even do it in 6 months. It's a slow, arduous process that requires discipline and grit. And maybe in a 3 or 4 or 5 year period, you'll look back and think, okay, I've learned. And so there's a greater lesson in that. And that is, the goal of life should be to get better. Don't compare yourself to other people. Compare yourself to yourself. Just get better. And that's what I want to do for the next 10 to 15 to 20 years, is to be a better person, a better thinker, on December the 15th, 2024.
Indeed. We have another question from the audience. Mark Arthur C. Phillips asking, what are economists around the world saying about the new global tax laws?
Well, you have to understand where this is coming from. The tax system that we have now was based on a goods economy, where the tax collector could see what was being taxed. A mug, and what's in the mug, the coffee, you could see that. And so the global tax system was based on that. Now, in the 21st century, most of what we consume are services. You can't see a service. So the most highly capitalized companies on the planet would be things like Alphabet, Google, Facebook, Meta. Apple is selling, a product, but it's also a service. And so the tax structure isn't well suited for taxing services. And this whole Pillar 1 and Pillar 2 of this OECD, this Organization of Economic Cooperation Development tax structure, is to get at those services. And this minimum corporate tax of 15% is an attempt at getting at those services. So that's what's behind it, because it would be extremely unfair to only tax goods and not services. We're dealing with a similar situation in Bermuda, in that we have this thing called a customs duty that taxes goods. But when I want to get my nails done and my hair done, services are largely tax-free in Bermuda. And so we're going to have to make a similar shift into what's called a value-added tax that will get at both goods and services. So this OECD global minimum tax is really in that tradition.
Thank you.
Quite a few people wishing you, and folks, Mr. Simmons, when is your last day at Bermuda College?
It was Wednesday.
It was Wednesday, and we have quite a few people. And if you want to wish Mr. Simmons well in his next phase, it's not retirement, because I'm pretty sure we'll be asking him to come a bit more frequently. But we have Machiko Trot. She says, congratulations, Craig Simmons, on your well-deserved retirement. It's time to cheer for all the incredible work you've done shaping the minds of countless students. We have, she also goes on to say, may this next phase be filled with endless happiness and peaceful moments. Your impact on us will always be cherished. Cheers to your retirement and the amazing legacy you leave behind. Sean DeShields says, you'll certainly be missed at BC, sir. All the best in your future endeavors. And this is what many people say about you. Happy retirement to my finance minister. We've got Kevin A. BDA says, yo, old age, I think she's calling you old, doesn't mean to stop doing. Have to keep correctly, proactively active. And yeah, we believe that that's what he'll be doing. Sean DeShields also says, you set the educational bar extremely high, my friend, and your shoes will be certainly be difficult to fill in the classroom. Steve McGinnis says, happy retirement, Craig, and looking forward to coffee room debates in the coming years. Know that you will still be benefiting the public with your free time for the betterment of all. We've got Roselda Severin. She says, this is, as expected, a powerful interview, Craig. Thank you for being an extremely effective educator who lives lifelong and ongoing learning. Sorry, I think who loves lifelong and ongoing learning. That's what she meant. You've been a wonderfully supportive colleague. And then we have, she goes on to say, you model what you expect. BC will miss you. Charles H. Jeffers II says, congratulations on your pending retirement. I hope this means you will have more time for TDH appearances, monthly or at least quarterly. Thank you, Brother Charles. We appreciate you. He knows this door is open whenever he wants to show up, but we're not going to put that pressure on him before the holidays. And the Chico Trot also says, I will miss our chats in the office, enjoying nuts and raisins. I just want to say, I want to thank you for always making time to engage the Bermudian public through this platform. There are times, obviously, we're focusing on much of what you've done in the classroom and for Bermudians today, but I know when it comes to the audience and them asking us to have someone on, you would expect it would be a politician or the premier or so on. You are probably the most sought after voice that people want to hear from. And I think because people see you as a person, as the example you gave earlier, you speak from a place of accountability, understanding, and you always engage respectfully. I too enjoy, and I've learned a lot from you, from the time during the pandemic when things were looking bad, and you start speaking to young people, and you said entrepreneurship, and you were honest with them about entrepreneurship. Remember that percentage? What was it? 90-something% of businesses will fail.
Mm-hmm.
You were very honest, and it's not often that you would have someone in these spaces who will not sugarcoat. And it's appreciated because you've said some things. I'm like, man, I didn't need to hear that today. I'm trying to run a business here, but we need that. And for that, sir, my biggest regret is that I never had the opportunity to sit in a classroom with you. But I'm thankful that we've created this space where I can actually learn from you like the many other Bermudians. And we are thankful for that. And I'm going to put you on the spot here because the budget will be read in the first quarter of 2024. And we usually have an annual chat. So I hope that you'll be back so that we can delve deep into the annual budget that the government will be presenting.
I'm at your beck and call.
We love it. We love it. We love it. And folks, you saw the mug that Mr. Simmons had. You saw that mug. We have more. We haven't given away some in a while, but that's your daily hour mug. Hit us up. Let us know if you'd like one. Mr. Simmons, please do enjoy the holidays. We'll be in touch with you. Thank you for your contribution to Bermuda. You appreciate it. We love you, and we are grateful to have you and all that you share with us that you really don't have to. So thank you, and we'll be in touch with you shortly.
All the best.
Thank you. Greg Simmons, folks, if you appreciated today's conversation, please do us a favor. Give us a love, give us a like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. To all those who've tuned in on Instagram, and I have not been reading all the questions because we're going to figure out how we can do that. We'll have a chat. I'm putting her on the spot with our amazing social media manager, Amber, who will likely probably be managing that. She didn't know it was happening. To those who are for the first time locked in on Twitter, we appreciate you. We have to take a final break. Because you all have been so great, we're going to do a hashtag giveaway. We're going to do a hashtag giveaway. Do not go anywhere. Someone is going to get a gift voucher today, so don't go anywhere. And Roger and I will be back after this to wrap up today's show, so stick with us.
Hi, welcome to ER Fisheries. I'm Jalen Steed, store manager and trained chef, and I'm here to help you with all of your food needs. Let's talk about why you should come and check out ER Fisheries. We offer the widest range of specialty meats and seafood items at a price point that will absolutely fit your budget. As a chef, I'm able to answer all of your food questions, help you come up with meal ideas, and generally guide you in the right direction. You'll get a custom shopping experience unlike any other food store in Bermuda, where we'll cater to your needs and provide you with excellent customer service. Where else can you get quality cooking advice and quality products? I look forward to helping you with all your meal ideas.
Welcome back. Thanks again to Craig Simmons for joining us today. Really appreciate the conversation from Mr. Simmons. If this is your first time tuning in, it's our first time on Instagram, we appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thanks again to the BAC group of companies, Medicals, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring we can have these conversations with you on a daily basis. It's time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. Are you ready, Raj?
Let's do it.
All right. Here's your question for the morning. Raj, you're going to get this because this is right up your alley.
Okay.
All right. He's going to say, Jamal, no, I ain't. Here we go. What are the names of the 3 characters that sing the Chipmunk song, Raj?
Oh, Dum Dooby. I actually have no idea. My children know. They actually know the girls' ones and the boys' ones, but I don't know.
Audience, help him out. What's the name of the Chipmunks, audience? Let us know.
It's not as... Yeah.
I think everyone knew this. All right. I'll give it to you really quickly.
There we go. Elvis, Simon, and Theodore. There we go.
Stacey and Brown's on point. Yeah, even Maya got it. Raj, I thought you would have at least got Alvin.
It's been a while. Alvin. Yeah, it's been a while. No, it has been... Listen, there's a lot going on up here, man.
I understand. Folks, hashtag the Daily Hour for today's giveaway. Hashtag the Daily Hour for today's giveaway, whether you're on Instagram, let's try it, Twitter, Facebook, hashtag the Daily Hour on all platforms. We're going to see if it takes Instagram today. So hashtag the Daily Hour for today's giveaway. Hashtag the Daily Hour. Let's wrap it up, Raj. I didn't even give a joke of the day today because we are so excited. But let's wrap it up in the most concise manner. We have to move. But what are your final thoughts on obviously the young people and then the conversation, what Craig Simmons means to Bermuda?
Let's all hold ourselves accountable. I think that's really what it is. Let's see how it is we are a part of the dynamics in this country. I want to make something clear. I wasn't trying to cast aspersions on DCFS, right? But we need to have honest conversations. This isn't about the staff of DCFS. This is about leadership. And to Miss Jackson's point, to say that children run away because they just don't like structure, I think that's an oversimplification of the issue. And I cannot wait to see Miss Jackson. Let's go get coffee. Let's go get lunch and let's talk about it, because I think we could learn from each other. We need to do better with our children, and it's going to elevate us as a country if we do that now and in the future.
Honestly, and thank you for that clarity, Raj, because I didn't want people to think that Rajay was attacking the staff of DCFS, because that's how it would be, the politics of it would go. He was making extremely valid points that we should all consider.
And take the emotion out of it, take the ego out of it, because the amount of public criticism I have received on things, Jamel, a lot. Sometimes people are right. You got to take your ego out of it. It's about the issue. It's about the children. It's not about you. We're here for the kids.
Yeah, agreed. Raj, I need you to remove anything you were going to share for the news, and so that we can put up the um, survey, not the survey, the results. All right. So whatever's down bottom, we got to remove it. All righty, here we go. So real quickly, I just want to say this much before we do the giveaway. I think that if we care about the future of the country, young people should be our priority. And we have to ask ourselves, while I appreciate Ms. Jackson's comment, if young people are running from the structure, we don't just keep that structure in place, we fix it, right? We don't just say, oh, well, they don't like discipline. We fix it. I think that's what we need to start doing, things a bit differently. As far as Mr. Simmons and his contribution to Bermuda, it's so much easier when people are not political in their angles. And I think that Mr. Simmons is a gem. We talk about Bermudian heroes. We see people getting awards all the time. The reward for Mr. Simmons is knowing that he's making a difference in the lives of so many of us because of the information that he's sharing. Let's do this giveaway, Rod J. All right, let's hit it. Who's going to be the lucky winner? Let me preface this. You've won in the last 2 weeks. We will redraw it. You will not win again today. All right, here we go. Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? Hashtag the Daily Hour. Polly Rich, congratulations. Please send an email to engage@thedailyhour.com so that we can get you your winnings. Raj, do you have any daily inspiration from our friends at ER Fisheries?
I certainly do, from Indira Gandhi. We must protect families. We must protect children who have inalienable rights and should be loved, should be taken care of physically and mentally.
I like that. I just want to answer this. Carry On Productions asks, why do we have to choose? Everyone needs to be our priority. We need absolute inclusion. I disagree. I think inclusion is a liberal feel-good word. At the end of the day, we don't need to prioritize everyone because everyone doesn't need to be a priority.
And that is actual inclusion, Jamel. That's real inclusion.
Correct. Like, I think these feel-good quotes and sayings, no, why we need to, some people need us more than others. Stop with this nonsense. I'm sorry.
And that's equity. That's equity. Equity is everybody getting what they need so that everyone's working at the same level. That what you just said is equity and inclusion.
I don't believe in treating people equally. I'm sorry.
No, because that's equality.
I don't believe in that. I've said that for years on this show, back to Hot 107.5. I don't believe in it. Don't bring that to me.
Equality and equity are two completely different things.
No, I'm sorry. I get what this person, but that's just cliche norms of today. No, everyone shouldn't be a priority. Sorry. Think on it. Raj, it's time to head out. But folks, please don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medicals, and Lindos, as well as People's Pharmacy, for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you on Monday. He's Roger Denbrook. I'm Jamel Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. And do us a favor. Like, share, subscribe, follow, because in 2024, we're going on some levels. Ain't that right, Raj?
Indeed.
All right, folks. Have a great weekend. Make it a good one. We are is out. Peace.